I'd been secretly in love with my neighbor for half a year. My anxiety had already caused me to nervously fiddle with 3 mimosa plants until they died. We bumped into each other in the stairwell. I nervously stroked the leaves of the plant I was holding. Suddenly, a stream of floating comments appeared before my eyes. "Sweetie, stop touching the plant anymore, and the male lead is going to lose it right here, LMAO. When will the flirtatious side character realize the male lead's true form is a mimosa? He's already died of embarrassment 3 times. Yes, that's the leaf, go on. Girl, torture at my hand trembled, and I accidentally crushed the leaf. The moment the mimosa leaves closed, Hugh Ainsworth's long legs buckled, and he looked at me, the tips of his ears bright red. Oh ho, side character, are you ready? The male lead is finally about to make his move. Chapter 1. This was the 7th message the delivery guy had sent me. Hey beautiful, you don't have a boyfriend, right? Your shoe rack is full of your high heels. They don't smell bad at all, actually smell kinda nice. Creep, an involuntary shiver ran down my spine. I was just about to call the police. But suddenly, a screen of floating comments appeared. What a dedicated cactus, putting himself out there like this. He's really throwing his dignity away for his shy buddy. Side character, listen up, go get the male lead next door to pretend to be your boyfriend. The male lead's in the shower if you go now. You can catch a glimpse of those great abs. My mind filled with images of abs. Thoughts jumbled, I actually replied, I do have a boyfriend, he lives right next door. Really? The next second, a knock came from the apartment next door. Hugh Ainsworth's voice drifted through the door seam. Who are you looking for? My heart skipped a beat. Hugh was my neighbor, aloof but unbelievably handsome. Strikingly so. I'd had the hots for him for ages, but I'd never had a chance to get close. Being able to look but not touch was driving me crazy. I'd already worried 3 mimosa plants to death at home. Just then, I heard the delivery guy confirming with Hugh. Is the woman next door your girlfriend? Oh crap, I quickly pushed my door open, only to stumble upon a sight straight out of a steamy romance novel. A handsome man fresh from the shower. Hugh had a towel loosely wrapped around his waist, revealing narrow hips and broad shoulders. Water dripped from the ends of his hair, his usual cool gaze softened by the steam. Unexpectedly captivating. He really had been showering. The visual impact was so strong I couldn't help but stare a little longer. Then I heard Hugh's cool reply, no, Chapter 2. My lie exposed, the delivery guy smirked at me. I had no choice but to bite the bullet and keep up the act. I hooked my arm through Hugh's. Still pouting? Don't be mad, honey. Can you even manage this shower properly? Let's go to your place, I'll scrub your back. With that, I pushed Hugh into his apartment. His arm was slightly damp from the shower, but the touch felt firm and strong. Bang! The door shut, blocking out the creepy delivery guy. But now I was the one with the guilty conscience. My gaze drifted downwards, following the lines of his abs down into the towel. The towel was slightly damp, clinging enough to reveal a potent, heated outline. The next second, Hugh pushed my hand away. He grabbed a bathrobe and wrapped himself up tightly, still maintaining that same standoffish, keep-your-distance attitude. Miss Lynch, can you please leave now? Men and women should maintain propriety. He even took a small step back. I was afraid he'd think I was some shameless hussy with bad intentions. I was about to explain, when the comments suddenly flooded the screen. Stop pretending, male lead the moment your eyes met, weren't you screaming, welcome inside. Side character, don't chicken out, touch him again, he's so shy his leaves are about to curl up. Why act so cold now? Forgotten that stack of photos in your nightstand. Sneaking peeks at the side character's pictures every night, talk about burning desire. My brow twitched. Hugh spies on me? Chapter 3. I couldn't help but look up. However, the man still wouldn't spare me even a glance, looking coolly to the side. But upon closer inspection, I could see his trembling eyelashes and the red, burning hot tips of his ears. It seemed there might actually be a chance. Gritting my teeth, I pinched myself hard, tears welling in my eyes as I tested the waters, looking utterly wronged. That delivery guy keeps harassing me, I'm really scared. Tonight, could I possibly stay here? Hugh frowned. Is that appropriate? It's not convenient for an unmarried man and woman. If he harasses you again, you can call me. I didn't speak. Just kept letting the tears fall. Damn, I pinched myself too hard. Hugh glanced at me, seemingly startled by my tears. He responded hastily. Fine, fine, you can stay. Just don't cry. Having successfully secured a place to stay, my heart couldn't help but race. An unmarried man and woman, a handsome man fresh from the shower. It felt like something intense and passionate had to happen. However, the newly reappeared comments started arguing. What are all you newbies upstairs even shipping? This is the side character, obsessed with climbing into the male lead's bed. How could anything happen between them? The male lead wants a soulmate like the female lead. Have you guys read too many trashy novels? Do you even understand platonic love? Why the superiority complex just from reading a story? I ship them, so what? Your precious male lead is practically rubbing holes in his pants every night at home, okay? Chapter 4. The comments section was a battlefield. I stayed up all night, finally piecing together the truth from the scattered remarks. I was the side character in a romance novel. Not malicious, not manipulative, just horny, and a little greedy. My only thought every day was how to pounce on the unattainable guy next door. I had to admit, this character description fit me pretty well. Through the comments, I learned that the pure and innocent female lead was about to appear. She would rescue the male lead, Hugh, who was shy about interacting with people. Their souls would connect, and the male lead would understand that the true meaning of love is love, not sex. She would thwart my countless seductive attempts, this lustful side character, and achieve a happy ending with the female lead, leaving me nailed to the pillar of shame, to die alone. Watching the sky gradually lighten outside the window, I felt strangely excited. So, Hugh's true form was a mimosa plant. I couldn't help but imagine it. The man watching as the buttons on his shirt are undone one by one, his cool facade hiding reddened eyes, trembling lashes, and burning ears. His gaze intensely predatory yet suppressed by his restrained nature. Shyly avoiding eye contact, blushing while saying no, yet betraying his affection in the entanglement. The aloof, cool, unattainable flower, capable of being completely disarmed by the slightest provocation. This was really my type. Chapter 5. I didn't sleep all night. Of course, the intense, fiery passion I'd imagined didn't happen either. Hugh slept on the living room sofa. I slept in his bed. The duvet was soft and clean, carrying a faint scent of fresh grass. Besides the increasingly fierce arguments in the comments, the only minor incident occurred when I tried to sneak a look inside his nightstand for my photos. Hugh burst into the room in a panic, without a word. He picked up the entire nightstand and carried it out. The drawer is broken. I'm taking it out to fix it. The excuse was incredibly lame. But through the slightly open gap of the drawer as he carried it away, I still caught sight of half a photo peeking out. A candid shot of a girl's profile. It was me. Chapter 6. Evening. I sat on the stairwell landing, holding a newly bought mimosa plant, stroking its leaves while waiting for Hugh. Mimosas are very sensitive. One touch and they shyly close up. A lot like Hugh. It was only then that I understood the meaning of his Chinese name, Hanziu. Hanziu. Hangxiu Mimosa Shy. So that was it. After the mimosa had shyly closed up 3 times, I finally saw Hugh. He walked up the stairs slowly, his expression slightly off. Hugh, I greeted him first, smiling. Thanks for yesterday. The man reverted to his usual coldness. He walked past me without a glance, continuing upstairs. So cold. After all, we'd slept under the same roof last night. That rascal, I resentfully pinched a leaf of the mimosa. The instant the leaf shyly closed, Hugh, who was walking upstairs, suddenly stumbled, his long legs giving way. He gripped the handrail tightly, veins popping on the back of his hand, as if desperately restraining something. Sweetie, stop touching the plant anymore, and the male lead is going to lose it right here in the stairwell LMAO. When will the side character realize the male lead's true form is a mimosa? He's already died of embarrassment 3 times. Yes, that's the leaf go on. Girl, torture at my face flushed red. I vaguely guessed what was happening. The comments seemed even more excited than I was. OMG, imagine being the male lead right now. Someone save the male lead. He's about to die of embarrassment again. Oh ho, side character, are you ready? The male lead is finally about to go for it. Chapter 7. The comments went wild, like they'd entered uncharted territory, getting more and more explicit, enough to make anyone blush. I couldn't resist. My finger tentatively brushed over the leaf again. I stared intently at Hugh's face, not wanting to miss a single flicker of expression. His face was stern, but the corners of his eyes were red. I swallowed hard, steeling myself. I was about to do it again, but Hugh was faster. He took 3 steps down and firmly grasped my wrist. "Don't touch." His breathing was unsteady, his palm alarmingly hot. "Please. Why, don't you think mimosas are cute?" I teased the closed, then slowly reopening, leaf with my finger. "Shy yet lively. A bit like you." The comments exploded again. "This is so intense, is there any difference between this and publicly stripping him naked?" Female lead baby, I'm defecting. Emotional connection is rare, true, but physical surrender is just too good to watch, sob, sob, sob. I stood on the step below him, looking up at his face. My gaze was unashamed. Bold, direct, fervent, lingering. Hugh didn't speak, but fire burned in his eyes. He gripped my wrist. I raised an eyebrow, not shy anymore. Learned to be proactive so quickly. "Tell me, if a mimosa plant were conscious, what would it feel like when someone touched it?" Hugh's breathing quickened. "It would feel," his grip tightened unconsciously, "like dying." "How could that be?" I brushed against the leaf again. "Look, it's closed up from shyness. The leaves are so small, it's adorable." Hugh was silent for 2 seconds, seeing I was about to reach out again. Hugh yanked me into his arms, as if unable to hold back any longer, his scorching breath washing over me. Here it comes, they're finally going to do it hatefully in the stairwell LMAO. The side character is about to cry and beg for mercy. "Who told you to say the leaves were small? Don't you know plants have very long roots? Did I wake up too fast? Did I just see the mimosa make the first move?" Chapter 8. I'm horny, but also a little nervous. The second Hugh leaned in to kiss me, I clutched his shirt tightly but tilted my face up willingly. Soft lips brought a scorching heat. Turning, lingering, I awkwardly met his kiss. However, just as I grabbed Hugh's hand and tried to place it on my waist, a ringing phone interrupted everything. Hugh snapped back from his daze, pulling away flusteredly to answer his phone. "Hello?" His usually cool voice was now slightly hoarse, laced with lingering emotion. "Okay, I'll be right over." I suspected the person on the other end hadn't even finished speaking. Hugh immediately seized the chance to escape. "Something came up, sorry." He ran. Just like that, he ran. I furiously rubbed the mimosa leaf. The leaf quickly closed. Simultaneously, a muffled thud echoed from downstairs. He probably fell. The comments reappeared. "It's our female lead baby's call. He was practically about to drop his pants here, but still ditched the side character immediately after getting the call. He really loves her so much. Don't be ridiculous. If he loved her so much, would he be kissing someone else here? This guy is clearly just shy." Right now, even if someone called saying his dad was giving birth in the maternity ward, he'd still say, "Be right there." The female lead is moving in across the hall tomorrow. They'll slowly develop feelings. What role is left for the side character? Chapter 9. Through the comments, I learned that tomorrow, the female lead would rent the vacant apartment across from Hugh and me. I decided to strike first. However, I was too late. I had already signed the lease, but the female lead offered triple the rent, and the landlady immediately broke the contract with me. Heartbroken, I grabbed Mrs. Gable's arm. "Breaking the contract like this is unethical." The landlady stuffed a thick envelope into my hand. "This is compensation from the other party. $3,000. I immediately retracted my hand. Then again, I'm not exactly the most ethical person myself. She can have the apartment. LMAO, the side character really is flexible. Waiting for our female lead baby to put this loser side character in her place, and just like that, Serena Holloway, the female lead, moved in across the hall. A pampered rich girl. Zero common sense. Couldn't do anything. She probably went looking for Hugh 800 times a day. "Hugh, what do I do if the fridge isn't cooling?" "Hugh, the light in my bedroom is broken." I couldn't stand it anymore. Before Hugh could open his door, I pushed Serena into her apartment. Shut the door. I slowly rolled up my sleeves. Serena looked a little scared. What are you going to do?" I rolled my eyes. What else could I do? Sleeves up, I fixed her fridge, changed the light bulb, and even repaired the slightly leaky shower head in her bathroom. Serena stood watching the whole time with starry eyes. "Amazing, how do you know how to do everything?" "Compared to you, I'm practically useless." I felt a bit awkward being praised like that. I really wanted to tell her, "Hugh isn't here, you don't need to put on an act for me." After thinking about it, I held back. As I was about to leave, Serena called out to me again. "Harper, I don't know how to thank you." I just moved in and don't have much to give you. This is new, take it. She slipped an inconspicuous bracelet off her wrist and offered it to me. I didn't really want to take it. It looked like something from a dollar store. But Serena looked at me with wide, innocent doe eyes, full of expectation. My heart softened. I took it casually. Thanks. But the comments scrolled frantically before my eyes. If I'm not mistaken, isn't that from a high-end luxury jewelry line? Those are real diamonds, clueless asking here. How much is that bracelet worth? Not much, maybe just over $100,000. What? My hand trembled. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. I carefully tucked it into my pocket. I sincerely grasped Serena's hand. Ray, from now on, we're sisters. Don't hesitate, call me anytime you need help. After leaving Serena's apartment, I turned around and went to Hugh's place. I knocked 3 times before the door slowly opened. I was used to it by now. This guy needed to give himself a pep talk before facing anyone. Mr. Ainsworth? I put on an innocent face. The light in my place is broken and I'm scared of the dark. Could you help me fix it? Chapter 10. The comments were noisy. Scheming woman always playing tricks in front of the male lead. So what? You like the ditzy beauty, we love the gorgeous vixen. What's wrong with young people being horny? Should they be asking, how are you? Instead, but I had no headspace to deal with the comments. In the dark room, Hugh's flashlight was the only light source. It's so dark, I'm scared. I took the opportunity to cling to Hugh's arm, pressing close. Almost instantly, he froze, his whole body tensing up. By the faint light, I saw the mimosa plant by the window rapidly close its leaves. The tiny leaves curled into a ball. The light flickered. And again, it was Hugh, fidgeting uncomfortably before me. He stiffly tried to push me away. But I was wearing a slip dress. The moment his fingers brushed my shoulder, he snatched his hand back as if burned. His gaze darted left and right, too flustered to look at me. For a fleeting moment, I suddenly understood the pleasure of the queen of women's country in Journey to the West. The pure and noble unattainable flower, though verbally rejecting. His panicked gaze, scorching breath, and flushed cheeks were all proof of his arousal. Don't do this. Hugh pushed me away with considerable effort. He managed to compose himself. It's probably just the bulb, I'll change it for you. Okay. Hugh stood on a chair to change the light bulb. I stood below, holding my phone as a flashlight. Hugh, I started chatting to pass the time. Is Serena Holloway your junior from school? Are you too close? It's all right. Hugh replied, subconsciously glancing down at me, and froze instantly. Almost at the same moment, the mimosa by the window curled tightly into a ball and stayed that way for a long time. Why was he so flustered? Puzzled, I followed his gaze downwards, and instantly blushed. My thin strap had slipped down with my movement, and the flashlight beam happened to shine right inside. Hugh turned his head away, his hand changing the bulb trembling. He finished quickly. Before I could even say thank you, he bolted out the door without looking back, until the sound of the door closing echoed. The mimosa on the windowsill hadn't recovered. Side character looks like a 36E, damn this guy eats well. I get it now. The male lead is openly shy but secretly loving it. This guy's died and gone to heaven 3 times already. Tisk, the side character's photos are in for it again tonight. Chapter 11. Serena Holloway's designated female lead persona was a gentle, kind, naive flower. A beautiful ditz, but extremely warm-hearted. To encourage Hugh to interact more with people, Serena took it upon herself to sign him up for a tour group. The budget, sunset tour kind. The group was full of enthusiastic, outgoing seniors. To accompany Hugh, the pampered little princess, who had never experienced hardship, also joined this cheap tour. As soon as I found out, I saw new comments. During the trip, the female lead helps the male lead open up, and their relationship rapidly deepens. The destination is where the two fall in love that wouldn't do. I immediately signed up too. Because it was a budget tour, there were no flights, just a regular coach bus. Before boarding, the comments refreshed again. On the bus, the female lead falls asleep on the male lead's shoulder. Gazing at her sweet profile, the male lead feels his first stirrings of love. I immediately beat her to it and sat next to Hugh. Serena didn't get the seat. She stomped her foot angrily, but she didn't say anything, sitting down behind us with a wronged expression. The elderly tourists were all excited, chatting, taking photos, snacking on sunflower seeds, and singing songs along the way. The faint smell of some unknown grandpa's foot odor permeated the closed bus. It made my head spin. Mindful of the comments, I closed my eyes, pretending to sleep, mentally calculating which angle of my profile would look best resting on Hugh's shoulder later. However, amidst the bumpy ride, I actually fell asleep. When I woke up, I felt my position was a bit off. Why was I lying face down, slowly sitting up? I realized I had fallen asleep lying across Hugh's lap. His jacket was draped over my head, and the man himself was sitting bolt upright, legs pressed tightly together, the flush on his face spreading nearly to his ear roots. Hugh pursed his lips. You fell asleep. You were originally leaning on my shoulder, but you kept sliding down and eventually ended up on my lap. He held his hands slightly raised, demonstrating his innocence. I didn't touch you. It's just, I was worried the seniors on the bus would misunderstand if they saw, so I covered you with my jacket. This was way more likely to cause misunderstandings who covers someone's entire head with a jacket. LMAO, if I hadn't seen the sleep marks on the side character's face, I'd really think she was. Wait, I imagined this whole scene, and the side character was actually just sleeping. Is anyone paying attention to the male lead? This guy's practically dying of pleasure. After the side character fell asleep, his stupid leaves stayed curled up the entire time. Chapter 12. Finally, we arrived and got off the bus. The tour guide, Janet Reed, led everyone to the first attraction, a top-rated scenic spot, mountains and clear waters. The elderly tourists were busy recording videos and taking photos. As the only young man in the group, Hugh was called over by several aunties to take pictures. Young man, yes, you young man, could you trouble you to take a few photos for us? Hugh nodded quickly. Being a mimosa, he was too shy to refuse anyone. Serena and I sat in the scenic area's coffee shop, enjoying the air conditioning and eating 3 servings of ice cream. Hugh was still out under the scorching sun, taking photos for the aunties. Serena licked the ice cream from the corner of her mouth and suddenly asked me, "Harper, do you like Hugh?" "Chem?" I paused for a second, then admitted freely. "Yes, liking his body should count as a type of liking, right?" After answering, I looked at the half-eaten ice cream in my hand, suddenly realizing this rich young lady had paid for it. Biting the spoon, I asked hesitantly, "Can I still eat this?" Serena sighed. "Go ahead, eat up. My heart aches for the female lead, baby. Don't cry, female lead, come to big sister's arms. LMAO, other books have vicious side characters, only ours is both hungry and horny. Eat up, you legend. Polished off 3.5 tubs of ice cream by yourself, who could possibly out-eat you?" Chapter 13. I have to say, enthusiastic seniors are the best cure for social anxiety. Hugh was at the beck and call of the aunties all afternoon. During the free time in the afternoon, the aunties were filming videos and insisted on casting Hugh as the unshakable monk Fahai, resisting temptation. A group of aunties surrounded him, leaning this way and that. I looked sympathetically at the mimosa plant I'd brought in my bag. It had been curled up all afternoon, its leaves turning yellow from exhaustion. Seriously, are they treating my boy like a pack mule? LMAO, did he just shyly die for the 4th time? Seeing the group of aunties fall into the male lead's arms, that plant instantly withered. Made me laugh for no reason. I quickly looked down. Sure enough, the poor thing had died of embarrassment again. I'd have to find a market this afternoon to buy another mimosa. Luckily, Hugh always revived immediately after being shamed to death. I just had to go to the nearest flower market. Whichever plant shied away the moment it saw me, without me even touching it, that was definitely him. Chapter 14. In the evening, we checked into a guest house near the scenic area. The conditions were average. 2 people per room. The comments refreshed again. The male and female leads are assigned to the same room. A giant cockroach appears late at night, the male lead plays hero, and their feelings deepen. I immediately rubbed my hands together, preparing to fight for a room with Hugh. However, perhaps because my presence altered the original plot, there were 2 rooms left when assignments were made. Serena and I were put in one room. Hugh got a room to himself. I reluctantly dragged my suitcase into the room. Serena, however, seemed quite excited, chatting non-stop with me all the way. The young heiress usually traveled by private jet, with butler service throughout. She had never ridden a bumpy bus or stayed in a standard twin room before. All of this was novel to her. Harper, actually, Hugh is quite boring. His personality is cold, and he doesn't like interacting with people. He's not right for you, Serena chattered on, trying to persuade me to give up. I found her annoying. After quickly washing up, I dove under the covers and buried my head to sleep. Harper, Serena tugged at my blanket. I'm a little scared, she asked cautiously. Can I sleep in your bed with you? I wanted to refuse, but the comments flooded the screen. Why do I feel like something's off with the female lead? That line sounds familiar. Isn't that the little trick the side character always uses on the male lead? Side character, you fool, why are you sleeping here instead of taking this great opportunity to sleep with the male lead? Next door Serena's soft pleas mingled with the comments in my ear. I was getting really annoyed. I yanked the blanket back. Get in. Serena's sad little face immediately brightened and she threw herself into my arms. I'm not scared anymore. Wait, I'm scared. Sis, did you mix up the plot? Am I overthinking this? Not sure, let's wait and see. Why does the plot seem to be heading in an unbelievable direction? Comment after comment scrolled by, making my eyes swim. I fell asleep soon after. I don't know how long later I was woken up by a scream. Harper, there's a cockroach. A soft, boneless hand clutched my pajamas, Serena's voice trembling so much it cracked. A huge cockroach. I opened my eyes. At the foot of the bed, a cockroach easily the size of my fist sat steadily on the duvet. Chapter 15. Serena pressed against me, her body trembling uncontrollably. I took a moment to clear my head, patted her shoulder. It's okay. Then, I grabbed the shirt draped over the nightstand and threw it over the insect. The moment the cockroach took flight, I trapped it in the shirt, tied it tight, threw it on the floor and stomped on it. Carried it, shirt and all, out to the trash can outside. Worried Serena would be crying alone in the room, I practically jogged back. Harper, as soon as I entered. The girl crashed into my arms, sobbing softly, probably genuinely scared. I held my hands up. Stop crying, Your Highness. My hands are dirty. Let me wash them first, then I'll comfort you. Serena sniffled her agreement. Once my hands were clean, she immediately clung to me again, hugging my arm thankfully. Harper, thank you. She was so close, all I felt was softness against my arm. The next second, Serena suddenly realized. She quickly pulled her hand back, blushing, and scrambled under the covers. The comments exploded. This seems a little off. Sis, isn't your main quest to sleep with that plant next door? How did you conquer our innocent female lead too? Excellent, it's a double kill, both leads conquered. The side character is the MVP, we're doomed. Chapter 16. Finally, Serena fell asleep. I wrapped myself in a long coat and went out. Knocked on Hugh's door next door. It's so late, you, Mr. Ainsworth. I forced out 2 tears. There was a giant cockroach in my room. I'm terrified. Can you let me stay here for the night? Taking advantage of his silence. I slipped through the partially open door. Mr. Ainsworth, your room is so hot. I took off my coat, revealing a lightweight silk slip dress underneath. Hugh's words instantly caught in his throat. His Adam's apple bobbed subtly. I hadn't even touched him. The mimosa in the room shyly closed up. I hear you're a painter. I sat on the edge of the bed, looking up at him. And you specialize in painting plants. Can you paint mimosas? Hugh nodded stiffly. I picked up the mimosa plant beside the bed. Then could you paint a picture of me with this little plant? Hugh blushed, stubbornly whispering a rebuttal. It's actually quite large for a mimosa. I ignored his protest, hugging the plant regardless. Where do you think I should put it? Holding it like this is fine. As I spoke, I held the mimosa plant in front of my chest. Hugh's breathing instantly became ragged. He looked away. This isn't appropriate. His mouth said it wasn't appropriate, but the leaves of the plant in my arms were honestly rubbing against me. In the wee hours of the morning, I stayed in Hugh's room for 2 hours, and this guy genuinely painted for 2 solid hours. Even the comments grew tired. Give it up, folks. The male lead is probably impotent. Dude, I've had my pants off for 2 hours, and you're just showing me a stupid plant? I waited and waited, but he still wasn't finished painting. I waited until I was drowsy. My body kept sliding towards the bed. Several times, as I nodded off, the leaves brushed against my front. A sheen of sweat appeared on Hugh's forehead. Veins pulsed slightly. He was trying very hard to restrain himself, until I lost patience and asked him point blank, Hugh, do you mimosas have some kind of hidden issue? Seeing him stare blankly, I rephrased more delicately. Are you unable to perform? Chapter 17. The blush on Hugh's face faded visibly, replaced by the mimosa in my arms slowly unfurling, its leaves spreading. I was surprised by the change in the plant, completely missed Hugh walking over to me, until a shadow fell over me. The mimosa was snatched away by Hugh, tossed aside. Gently, I exclaimed instinctively. Doesn't that hurt you? Hugh ignored me. I thought the guy was about to put on another shy, bluffing act. However, hot fingertips traced my jaw, holding it firmly, tilting it up. The kiss landed just like that. No hesitation, no testing the waters. He initiated awkwardly, tongue probing past lips and teeth, breaths mingling. I looked at him in surprise. My words were muffled by his kiss. Hugh, the man acknowledged, his breath warm against my ear. Are you sure you like me like this? I was dizzy from his kiss. Hugh, he reached out at the right moment, scooping me into his arms, and tossed me onto the bed. The lights suddenly went out. In the dim room, the cheap bed frame creaked with the movement. Beneath the bed, the mimosa plant's leaves closed and opened, finding no rest all night. The few remaining comments scrolled rapidly. WTF, WTF, WTF. See, heaven rewards those who stay up late this isn't shy at all. Has the male lead been playing dumb this whole time? The side character is greedy and horny, being bullied until she's speechless serves her right. Chapter 18. I woke up in Hugh's bed, but Hugh wasn't there. I pushed myself up on aching arms, looking around, but he was nowhere to be seen. That guy didn't just get dressed and run off shyly, did he? I grabbed the clothes scattered at the foot of the bed and put them on. Asshole, he even ripped my slip dress. I furiously got out of bed to wash up. But the water in the cup was already filled, still warm, and the toothpaste was squeezed onto the brush. A flood of comments appeared again. WTF? What did you guys do while I was asleep? A little girl who went to bed early woke up to find her world collapsed. The most exciting part was censored by the admins, sob, sob, sob. Wait, isn't the male lead's character supposed to be shy? Did he just turn the tables like that? So noisy. I flicked the water droplets off my hands, images from last night flooding my mind. Couldn't help rubbing my sore lower back, remembering Hugh's previous timidity. I couldn't help cursing again. Rascal? Who's the rascal calling rascal? Hugh's voice came with the sound of the door opening. He wore a black shirt, the top 2 buttons undone, revealing an ambiguous kiss mark on his collarbone. The sight made me swallow hard. For you, Hugh handed me 2 clothing bags. Bought them based on your usual style. So he went out to buy me clothes. Rascal. Hugh just leaned against the doorframe watching me, his gaze warm yet very direct. It actually made me feel a little awkward. Clutching the bags tightly, I whispered, I'll go change. I just reached the bathroom door when he stopped me. Change here. His breath tickled my ear, mingling with his low chuckle. What didn't I see last night? Wait. It was just one wild night. How did it seem like our souls switched places? Shouldn't Hugh be the shy one? I decided he was bluffing, gritting my teeth. I actually started changing right there. However, Hugh seemed to have genuinely transformed overnight. No panicked escape as I'd expected. Hugh remained leaning against the door, the only change being the subtle bob of his Adam's apple, and the emotion filling his eyes. I couldn't take it anymore. As I prepared to change, my gaze accidentally fell on the mimosa at the foot of the bed. Not only were its leaves not shyly curled up, but they were vigorously unfurled, full of life. My heart sank. Oh crap, however, there was no time to run. Hugh swept me up into his arms. The curtains were drawn. Hugh held me captive with one arm while dialing the tour guide with the other. Janet, Harper, and I aren't feeling well. We won't be joining today's activities. The person on the other end asked a few simple questions. Since today's itinerary was just local sites, the guide didn't press further. As the call ended, Hugh's presence pressed down on me, overwhelming. I knew waking up early would pay off. Got it. The mimosa isn't shy after experiencing it. Only the last word of Hank's you, shy mimosa remains relevant, right? Implying only Zhu shame shyness is gone, leaving Han, which sounds like a word for lustful actions in slang. Or just that the shyness is gone, my poor female lead baby, boyfriend gone, girlfriend gone too. Chapter 19. On the bus ride back. Serena sat sulking in the very last row, refusing to talk to me the entire way. And since I really had stolen her destined man, I felt too awkward to approach her. I could only shrink into my seat, idly poking Hugh's abs, until a new line of comments appeared before my eyes. They'll encounter robbers on the way back. The female lead saves the hero, completely opening the male lead's heart. Wait, is the spoiler above serious? The male lead and side character already did that. Why does he still need the female lead to open his heart? The male lead and side character were just relieving urges. After all, how high can the moral standards of a plant be? He'll soon realize the female lead is the soulmate he's been looking for. Is the person above serious? Describing playing someone and dumping them as something so noble. The comments started arguing again. My heart twisted into knots. The comments didn't reveal much detail, only that they'd encounter attackers on the return journey, Hugh would suffer an injury involving blood, and Serena would save him regardless of the danger. I grew increasingly anxious. The bus drove along a deserted, remote mountain road. No cars in front or behind, the road narrow, no way to turn back. I couldn't even think of a way to force the driver to turn around. All I could do was silently hope nothing happened on this stretch of road. However, my fears materialized. Not long after, a muffled bang came from one of the tires, and the bus stopped. Seemed like a flat tire. "Driver," I called out to the driver who was preparing to get off. "This area is remote and backward, security is poor around here. Someone might have deliberately scattered nails on the road to stop vehicles." "Don't get off yet." The driver paused. "What are you talking about? I've driven this route for 7 or 8 years, it's not that dramatic." Ignoring my attempts to stop him, the driver opened the door and got off. The moment the driver stepped out, several middle-aged men suddenly ran out from around a bend, carrying things in their hands. It was happening. The comments were right. I huddled nervously in my seat, racking my brain for how to handle the situation. However, the moment the attackers boarded the bus, I froze completely. This was it. A few plainly dressed villagers, skin tan dark from years of farm work, each holding tools like shovels and hammers, trying to look fierce. But their hands trembled more than the last. Even their voices lacked conviction. "Don't move, this is a robbery." The lead man's eyes were bloodshot. He glared fiercely at everyone. "Who has money?" I need $500. The elderly tourists on the bus were stunned. They'd seen robberies before, but never one where the robber asked who had money. "Speak up, who has it?" the man roared, his voice hoarse. "If you don't give it, I'll have to get rough." Still, no one dared to speak. No one wanted to be the one to stick their neck out. The man gritted his teeth and grabbed the nearest elderly woman. "Are you giving it or not?" The woman was traveling alone. Threatened by the hammer, she was too scared to speak, just shaking her head frantically. The man's eyes bulged, furious. He clenched his teeth, the hammer in his hand swinging towards the woman. No, Hugh and I lunged forward almost simultaneously. Thud, a heavy object hit the floor with a dull sound. The woman was unharmed. At the last second, the middle-aged man had thrown the hammer down at his feet. He let go of the woman's collar and suddenly crouched on the floor, sobbing. "I didn't want to hurt you. I was desperate, that's why I thought of robbing. My daughter's dying, we couldn't raise enough for the surgery. The village is poor, everyone pitched in, but we were still short $496.30. A man nearly 40, yet his eyes held an almost naive simplicity. Could you lend me $500? After I serve my time, I'll work and pay you back immediately." The elderly tourists murmured sympathetically. Someone started it. Some aunties, seeing there was no danger, began yelling, "Your daughter's dying, so you rob us. What kind of person are you? Serves your daughter right if she doesn't live long," but other kind-hearted aunties intervened. "We're all struggling. You didn't actually hurt anyone. Who hasn't faced desperate times? I have 50 here, take it, no need to pay me back." "I have 30. Serena, sitting in the back row, came forward. The rich young lady had plenty of cash. She pulled out a wad of bills from her bag and handed it over. "Go save your child first. Here's my number. Call me if you need more." The man took the money with trembling hands, immediately knelt, and kowtowed 3 times. They were simple farmers. His buddies behind him started to kneel too, but were stopped by Serena. The farce ended. I finally breathed a sigh of relief, but I was puzzled. With such a peaceful resolution, where did Hugh's bloody disaster come from? The next second, One of the middle-aged men, holding his hammer, was about to get off the bus. As he passed us, he tripped over the backpack of the lady in the adjacent seat, and the hammer flew towards Hugh. Look out, Serena and I lunged almost simultaneously. Except I shielded Hugh, and Serena shielded me. Chapter 20. The hammer hit Serena's arm, a minor fracture. In the hospital room, Miss Holloway leaned against the headboard, her face scrunched up in pain. Harper, it hurts, she pointed to her casted arm. It's fractured. The comments were full of sympathy. Female lead, don't cry, let big sister blow on it. Our female lead angel, still the pure love warrior. Author, you have no heart, the female lead baby is so good. Why does no one love her? At the very least, couldn't the side character be with the male lead in bed and the female lead out of bed? Me? I really appreciate their input. Harper, Serena pouted, displeased with my distraction. Look, I got a fracture saving you. It hurts a lot. I took her other hand. Thank you really for what you did today. Just thanks, the young woman pouted unhappily. Hospitals are creepy at night. I'm scared. Harper, will you stay here with me tonight? Before I could answer, Hugh refused for me. No. How strange. The mimosa who was too embarrassed to refuse even when a group of aunties fell on him was now refusing quite decisively. Hugh protectively pulled me behind him. She's busy tonight. Serena bit her lip. Oh well, I was going to offer Harper $2,000 a night for staying. I pushed Hugh aside. The money isn't important. I just really love the hospital environment. So quiet and peaceful, utterly charming. Finished, I turned to Hugh. Mr. Ainsworth, if there's nothing else, please leave. Hugh confirmed. Our girl is actually greedier than she is horny. LMAO, that plant is about to shatter. It's okay, male lead. You still have a cactus waiting at home. He threw away his dignity for your love life. Chapter 21. I stayed at the hospital for 10 days. Serena transferred $10,000 to me as promised. I knew she was rich. But taking this money felt unsettling. A caregiver was hired specifically for her. I was only responsible for chatting and keeping her company. Seeing, I wanted to return it. Serena refused while munching on an apple. Stop trying to give it back. Consider it my wedding gift money for you and Hugh. The young heiress tossed the half-eaten apple into the trash. The waste pained me a little. She blinked, asking me, "You didn't know I liked you, did you?" I froze. Huh? Seeing my inability to answer, she smiled happily. Good that you didn't know. All right, she waved her hand. You can go. Hugh stands outside the door like a lovelorn statue every day. It's starting to give me nightmares. I didn't know what to say, hesitated, nodded. Call me anytime if you need anything. I'll come right over. I know, stop nagging. I'll be discharged in 2 days anyway. She winked at me. I'm still living across the hall from you guys. Outside the hospital room. Hugh immediately sidled up, looking expectant. 10 days. People bustled through the corridor. His ears flushed red, but he still pulled me into his arms, nuzzling his chin against my hair. 10 whole days. His resentful tone made it sound like 10 years had passed. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Suddenly remembered I'd left my phone in the room and turned back to get it. Just as I reached the door, I heard soft sobbing from inside through the crack. This way, Harper will know I liked her, right? The young woman sniffled, reaching her own conclusion. Boo-hoo-hoo, so weird. It feels like I'm under a spell, like I'll fall for anyone who fixes my lights or swats a cockroach for me. Why am I so pathetic? The comments were full of comforting voices. Baby, don't cry. It's because your true form is algae, the single-celled kind. So pure and simple. Sweetie, don't cry. I'm sending the author hate mail right now to make her write you a handsome guy who can fix lights and kill big cockroaches. You saved a girl you barely knew you're the most impressive one. Chapter 22. I think the comments were right. After its first intimate experience, a mimosa loses all its shame and inhibition, leaving only raw impulse. Hugh persistently moved into my apartment. I told him sternly, in the human world, what you're doing is called marrying into the wife's family and living off her. Hugh wrapped his arms around me, pulling me onto his lap. Doesn't matter, he murmured, gently nuzzling my earlobe. I'm not human anyway. I'm a plant, he stated even more righteously than me. How can you expect a useless plant to have any moral standards? Seems logical. Hugh buried his face in my neck. Hugh, I pushed him lightly, annoyed. I'm talking to you. He kissed my fingertips. You talk, I'm listening. I couldn't help asking, "Are you really a mimosa?" Genuine article. He knelt before me. "Then how come you're not shy anymore?" "You haven't initiated anything. How can I be shy?" He had a point. Gritting my teeth, I initiated once. Hugh's earlobes instantly burned hot. He closed his eyes, not daring to look at me, but his palm gently stroked my hair as he praised with a smile. "Good girl." The night was hot. The mimosa plant in the corner of the room slowly curled inward and curled again, enveloping the boundless spring passion. Fading away along with it were rows of comments yelling, "What can't we honored VIP members see?" Epilogue. Hugh shamefully moved into my place. Serena still lived across the hall. Whenever something broke in her apartment, she'd call me. "Harper, my light's broken, 500 to fix it." The pipe's leaking again, 1,000 to fix the pipe, several times, just as Hugh and I were about to get intimate. She interrupted us, and adhering to the principle of not earning money makes you an idiot, I showed up on time every time. Fixing furniture, changing bulbs without complaint. Hugh couldn't stand it anymore. He arranged for his good buddy to move into Hugh's vacant apartment next door. The guy was nearly 6'3", with strong features, dark brows, and kind eyes. He looked familiar, until he greeted me. Take the initiative to greet. "Sister-in-law, you don't remember me? I'm that creep." "The delivery guy?" He rubbed his hair, grinning sheepishly. "That's me." "You." I suddenly recalled the first comment I ever saw. What a dedicated cactus, going all out for his shy buddy, even sacrificing his dignity. I froze. "Cactus?" he admitted with a smile. "Just call me Jonathan Thorne." "Sister-in-law, honestly, I'm not really a creep. It's just Hugh was too shy. If I didn't give him a push, he'd hold it in forever." I found those creepy texts online. After getting to know him better, I couldn't help asking, "Hugh is such a shy person, he barely talks to anyone. How did you two become buddies?" Jonathan Thorne grinned proudly. "Because I wanted to be his friend. He gets shy so easily when teased, it's hilarious." I said I wanted to be bros with him. When he disagreed, I poked him. Only poked him maybe 10 times or so, then he agreed. Simple and brutally effective. Just as we were talking, Serena knocked on the door. "Harper, there's a huge cockroach in my apartment. It's massive, I'm so scared." Before I could get up, Jonathan shot up. "Cockroach, where?" "I'll get it." My heart tightened. No way, swatting one cockroach is worth $200, however. I had barely stood up when Jonathan pushed me back down. "Sister-in-law, you sit tight, I'll go. I'm freeloading off Hugh here, gotta pull my weight with that." The guy followed Serena straight home to deal with the cockroach. Jonathan wore a sleeveless black tank top, revealing a set of well-defined muscles. Seeing him enter the apartment and kill the huge cockroach in seconds, I knew. My side hustle was gone, sure enough. The next day, Serena knocked on my door, blushing. "Harper, could you maybe give me Jonathan's contact info?" End of story.